Together, we remember the victims of the Srebrenica Genocide, all of the lives lost and destroyed by the ultimate consequence of hatred. We reaffirm our commitment to never let hatred go unchallenged within our communities. Every action matters, and in Greater Manchester, we pledge to learn the lessons of Srebrenica. This year marks the 25th anniversary of the Srebrenica Genocide, in which over 8,000 Muslim men and boys were murdered simply because of their religious identity. In Greater Manchester, we are committed to ensure that we never forget about the genocide and that we reaffirm our commitment to standing up against all forms of hatred and prejudice that targets groups based on their religion, ethnicity, gender, sexuality, or any type of difference. Like many, I grew up watching the harrowing scenes of the war in Bosnia on our television screens on the evening news, and watched neighbour turn against neighbour, friend against friend, and ethnicity against ethnicity. I will never forget the stories that came out of the Omarska concentration camp, the ethnic cleansing, the systematic mass rape, the genocide, and struggling to believe that this was happening on European soil in my lifetime. These were the very darkest moments in Europe's post-war history, and we all owe it to each and every one of the victims to learn the lessons of Srebrenica. And the biggest lesson of all is this, that the evil of racism, hatred, intolerance must be confronted head on if we are to build a safer and better society for all. Every action matters. And that's why today I call upon everyone to reflect on their own behaviour and the choices that they make, and to ask themselves whether they could make more of a difference. When one person stands up and speaks out against prejudice and hatred, they inspire so many others to do the same. And it's that action that is the foundation of building a stronger society. Greater Manchester is one of the most diverse city regions of the UK, and we're proud to be so, with over 200 languages spoken here. We've always welcomed people from around the world. We've always took a clear stand against discrimination of any kind. And now it feels more important than ever to stick to those values, because from different places around the world, they're coming under attack. Amongst Greater Manchester's diverse communities, we have a strong British Bosnian population, with approximately 600 refugees coming to Greater Manchester and the North West during the mid-1990s. And these people and their families have contributed so much to our society, and we want them all to know that they are valued and loved. We remember with them today. We pray with them for their loss, their pain, and their suffering, and we pledge never to forget. And we can't forget, because racism remains a real and present danger. We were all horrified by the callous murder of George Floyd on the streets of Minneapolis. And that sent shockwaves around the world that were felt powerfully and painfully by our Black community here in Greater Manchester. The strength of the Black Lives Matter movement here in Greater Manchester, but also around the world, should show that there is a clear majority of people determined to stand up against racism and discrimination. And that should give us some cause for encouragement on a day like today. The late Elie Wiesel, a survivor of the Holocaust, said, "We must always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. Sometimes we must interfere. When human lives are endangered, when human dignity is in jeopardy, national borders and sensitivities become irrelevant. Wherever men or women are persecuted because of their race, religion, or political views, that place must, at that moment, become the centre of the universe." And 25 years ago, that place was Bosnia and Srebrenica. I am proud of the role Britain played back then, and we have come a long way on race relations in this country. However, we must also recognise that there is still so much more to do. We must recognise the dangers and understand that failure to play our part can result in something truly horrific. The Srebrenica Memorial Day, therefore, is important, not just as an act of remembrance, but as a lesson for generations to come. I want the children growing up today in Greater Manchester who did not witness those scenes of genocide on their television sets like my generation did, to not only know what happened in that Bosnian enclave, but also to have the courage and confidence to know that their every action matters in confronting racism and hatred, and that they today, like all of us, should pledge never again.